Absolutely confirmed. Fabrizio Romano makes exciting transfer declaration for Tottenham fans after Morgan Gibbs-White deal. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Tottenham Hotspur fans are over the moon with the ambitious moves that the club have made over the last 72 hours, and they will be even more excited by what Fabrizio Romano has just revealed. The feeling was that Daniel Levy and co were hanging another new manager out to dry, but over the last 72 hours, the mood has changed completely. With the Lilywhites flexing their financial muscle, Mohamed Kudus has been announced as a Tottenham player, with Spurs paying £55 million to land him from West Ham. And then on Thursday, Spurs activated Morgan Gibbs-White's £60 million release clause, with the attacking midfielder set to be the fourth player to arrive through the door at Hotspur Way this summer. It is still unclear whether the Gibbs-White deal will go through, with Nottingham Forest alleging that Spurs made an illegal approach. However, Tottenham remain confident that Morgan Gibbs-White will be a Spurs player come the end of the window. The feeling on Hotspur Way is that the Gibbs-White deal is not in any danger and will go ahead, despite Nottingham Forest claiming that Spurs have made an illegal approach. Daniel Levy remains confident that Morgan Gibbs-White will be a Spurs player in the next few days. Fabrizio Romano says Tottenham are not done making signings. The moves for Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White show a change in transfer policy at Tottenham, with the Lilywhites now pursuing players who are proven at the highest level rather than just promising youngsters. What will excite Spurs fans even more is that Fabrizio Romano has said on his YouTube channel that the North Londoners are not done just yet. The journalist explained that the club are building a really ambitious project under Thomas Frank, and that there are more signings to come at Tottenham over the coming weeks. Spurs are reportedly considering signing Bayern Munich midfielder João Palhinha, as per transfer journalist Graeme Bailey. The Lilywhites currently have Yves Bissouma, Rodrigo Bentancur, Papi Sarr, Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall as options to deploy in the engine room. However, Gray and Bergvall are still very young and aren't ready to play regularly at the highest level yet. Therefore, considering Spurs have qualified for the Champions League and the fixture schedule will be gruelling next season, Thomas Frank is planning to add depth to this department. On TBR Football, Bailey says that Tottenham have shortlisted several names, with Douglas Luiz being among them. Spurs have held talks over this deal, and Juventus are ready to let him leave. Frank's side have even offered Bissouma in a part-exchange deal to sign the Brazilian, and the Italian giants are ready to take the former Brighton man. Apart from Luiz, Palhinha is also on Tottenham's radar and is available this summer. Bayern Munich are open to cashing in on him just after 1 year following his struggles to find regular game time last term. Although Tottenham are considering signing the former Fulham man, the Cottagers are open to bringing him back, while West Ham are in this race as well. Moreover, Arsenal and Manchester United previously expressed their interest in signing him, so Frank's side will have to face tough competition to get the deal done. The Lilywhites are also keeping a close eye on Adam Wharton and could make a move should he become available. Furthermore, Lamine Camara, Arden Jashari and Hugo Larsson are also on Tottenham's radar. Bayern reportedly purchased the Portuguese international for a fee of around £50 million, but are ready to let him go for just around £25 million. Although Palhinha struggled to find regular game time at Allianz Arena, he is a talented player and has plenty of experience. Moreover, the 30-year-old previously showcased impressive performances in the Premier League. On the other hand, Luiz has found himself in a similar situation to Palhinha at Juventus, and he also previously impressed in the English top flight during his time at Aston Villa. Therefore, either Luiz or Palhinha would be a very good acquisition for Tottenham to reinforce the midfield department. Tottenham open initial talks to sign João Palhinha from Brentford, but face competition from Duo. Spurs are actively pursuing a move for Brentford striker João Palhinha, but with Manchester United and Newcastle also circling, it is shaping up to be a competitive summer battle. Tottenham Hotspur's attack looks far from complete, despite the high-profile addition of Mohamed Kudus from West Ham United in a £55 million deal earlier this summer. It is understood that Spurs, under new boss Thomas Frank, remain keen on adding further firepower to their front line, and one of the names firmly on Tottenham's radar is João Palhinha of Brentford. The 28-year-old enjoyed a standout campaign last season, netting 19 Premier League goals under Frank at Brentford, which has evidently made a lasting impression on the new Spurs manager. Wissa is not the only Brentford player Tottenham have explored this summer either, with Bryan Mbeumo having also been strongly linked with a move to North London, although the latest suggestions indicate that the winger now favours a switch to Manchester United instead. Court Offside now reports that discussions are already underway between Tottenham Hotspur and João Wissa, with the club believed to have prioritised the Brentford man as their key forward target this window. Wissa, who has just 1 year remaining on his current contract at Brentford, is valued at £50 million by the West London side, despite the looming risk of losing him for free next year. Although talks are progressing, the report makes it clear that no deal is advanced at this stage, with negotiations still at a relatively early phase. Spurs are not expected to have a clear path to Wissa, with Manchester United and Newcastle both monitoring the situation closely and reportedly exploring attacking reinforcements of their own. Spurs' push for Wissa arrives at a time of uncertainty surrounding Richarlison, whose future at the club remains unclear. Although the Brazilian forward is keen to fight for a spot under Thomas Frank, the growing expectation is that he could be sold in the coming weeks. Exclusive! Tottenham turn to Eze after Gibbs-White saga emerges. Spurs could revive their interest in Eberechi Eze this summer. Tottenham have already signed Mohamed Kudus, who can play on both flanks and are in the process of signing attacking midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White. It is a huge splash from Daniel Levy and Enoch, who are normally frugal operators in the market, which could suggest fresh investment from an outside party. Tottenham to revive Eze chase amid Gibbs-White blow. The Lilywhites were reportedly battling with Arsenal for Eze earlier in the window, but they have agreed to trigger Gibbs-White's £60 million release clause. However, Nottingham Forest have accused them of an illegal approach, and a potential deal may be scuppered as a result. Ian Darke believes that the North London club could pivot back to Eze if the Gibbs-White deal continues to stall. Speaking exclusively to Tottenham News, he said, "There are a lot of mentions with Spurs and Eberechi Eze, whose release clause I am told is somewhere around £68 million. That would be a marquee signing for whoever got him. I think he is a wonderful player to watch and looks to be moving on a level. It would be a marvellous signing if they could get him." There do seem to be a few stories linking Eze to Tottenham. How much substance there is in them remains to be seen. But if they were to sign him, you would have to wonder about the future of James Maddison. Gibbs-White is primarily a number 10, whereas the Crystal Palace man can feature from an attacking midfield position or the left wing. Eze posted more goal contributions than his compatriot last season, with 14 goals and 11 assists in all competitions, compared to 10 strikes and 7 assists for Gibbs-White. If Tottenham cannot sign the former Wolves star as a result of the trouble with Forest, they might as well turn their attention to Eze again, and they would not have competition as the Gunners push to sign Noni Madueke, who plays in the same position. That wraps up today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with all things Tottenham, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for our latest content. Be sure to give this video a like and share it with fellow Spurs supporters. Let's grow the Tottenham News Today community together. Thanks for tuning in, and as ever, come on you Spurs!